Hi guys, so we're looking at lesson 9.4 inside the student book, page 401. Unlock the line graphs. Unlock the problem. A line graph is a graph that uses line segments to show how data changes over time. The series of numbers placed at fixed distances that label the graph are the graph's scale. The intervals, or the difference between the values on the scale, should be equal. So how far is it down here? So see how it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7? That is our scale. The time between 2 and 3, so the entire hour, that is the interval between them. All right, so over here, graph the data, use the graph to determine the times during which the greatest temperature change occurred. So first off, we have at 1 o'clock, it was 51 degrees. 2 o'clock, 49 degrees. 3 o'clock, 47 degrees. 4 o'clock, 44 degrees. 5 o'clock, 45 degrees. 6 o'clock, 44 degrees, and 7 o'clock, 46 degrees. So let's go write that over here. Going to 2 o'clock, 49 degrees. And then 3 o'clock, 47 degrees. And then 4 o'clock, 44 degrees. And then 5 o'clock, 45 degrees. And 6 o'clock, 44 degrees. And 7 o'clock, 46 degrees. So that is our points. And yeah, my points could use a little fudging to get closer to where they actually are. Okay, there we go. All right. So step 1, for the vertical axis, choose a scale and an interval appropriate for the data. You can show a break in the scale between the 0 and the 40. That's because nothing goes below 40. And if I included all the way up to 40, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, that would be an absolutely massive graph, okay? I don't want to do that. So I skipped there and then made every single line go up by 2. So 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54. For the horizontal axis, write the times of day. Write a title for the graph and name each axis. So this is the times and this is the temperature. Then graph the ordered pairs. Complete the graph by connecting the points with line segments. So let's put in our ordered pairs. At 4 o'clock, it was 44 degrees. So right here. At 5 o'clock, it was 45 degrees. So right here. At 6 o'clock, it was 44 degrees. So 6 up to the 44. So there's the 6 line, there's the 44 line. So I put it there. at 7 o'clock, it's 46 degrees. So 7 o'clock over to the 46. And it goes up like that. Now I need to connect these with a line. So I start at this dot, go to that dot. 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 So our graph ends up looking something like that. Look at each line segment of the graph. Find the line segment which shows the greatest change in temperature between 2 points. So let's look at it. Here in 1 hour, it went from 51 to 49, so it dropped 2 degrees. Here in 1 hour, it went from 49 to 47, so it dropped 2 degrees. Here in 1 hour, it went from 47 to 44, so it dropped 3 degrees. Here it went from 44 to 45, so it went up 1 degree. From 45 to 44, so it dropped 1 degree. From 44 to 46, so it went up 2 degrees. So the time when it went down 3 degrees was from 3 o'clock until 4 o'clock. So we write down 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That is the time at which it dropped the most. Pause it if you need to. I'm moving on to the next page. All right, so I am going to use up here for step 1, but when I get to step 3, I'm actually going to get my own graph paper because this grid is almost impossible to see. All right, so Monday, it was at 2, we had 2 inches of rainfall. Tuesday, there was 2 inches of rainfall. Wednesday, there was 3 inches of rainfall. I'm pulling these numbers right off of this chart. Thursday, there was 6 inches of rainfall. Friday, there was 8 inches of rainfall. And Saturday, there was 9 inches of rainfall. Like I said, I got the numbers directly off of this chart. We're now supposed to try to figure out what this is going to look like. So, because these are days that we're dealing with instead of numbers, we're actually going to have days written at the bottom of it, not numbers. Now, typically you would think, oh, that means we're making a bar graph. We're not making a bar graph. We're making a line graph. We're putting dots in there, and we're doing it that way. It's just going to end up looking a little funky. So what you're going to do, I'll show you the lines because mine already has the lines drawn on it, is you're going to just take one of the lines and draw straight along it. And then you're going to take it and you're going to go straight along it the other way too, okay? Then you're going to have, all right, so get it looking like that. Give me a second. I am going to go get my actual graph paper, which will show up so we can see it. Now you'll recognize this graph paper from the intervention room. The only one that we're worrying about is this square. Next year, we can worry about the other 3 squares. This year, we're only worrying about this square, okay? So the way that I'm gonna label this is I'm actually gonna go over, yeah, you got plenty of space. So I'm actually gonna go over 2 and put MUN on it. And then I'm gonna skip a line, go over another line, and do 2. skip a line, go over another line, and do 3, skip a line. Am I going to run out of space on this one? I am. Let me go switch it the other direction. So 1, 2, wed, 2, fry, set. Okay? So that's what I have to begin with. And then I put down day, because that's what it is. So you see how I skipped every other line for each of them before I wrote it down? That's just to make it easier for me when it comes to graphing this. So if I have skipped lines, it makes it easier for me to work with. Given that we're only going up to 9, I'm going to go with this being a 0, 1, 2, and I'm labeling every single one this time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So all the way up to 9. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's put in 10. And then on the side, writing up, I'm going to do rainfall. And then IN for inches next to it. So right now you should have a graph inside your book that looks very similar to this. Okay, so let's graph our points now. Now that we have all of this, all that we have left to do is graph our points. On Monday, it was 2 inches. So I go over to Monday, I go up to the 2, and I make a dot. On Tuesday, it was 2 inches. I go over to Tuesday, up to 2, and make a dot. On Wednesday, it was 3 inches. I go over to Wednesday, up to 3, and make a dot. On Thursday, it was 6 inches. Over to Thursday, up to 6, and make a dot. On Friday, it was 8 inches. Over to Friday, up to 8, and make a dot. On Saturday, it was 9 inches. Over to Saturday, up to 9, and make a dot. Now we are going to connect these dots. So I just draw a line in between each of the dots. We're playing connect the dots. You'll note the line is not straight. The line does this little squiggle thing. That's fine. We're not worrying about straight lines right now. We'll worry about straight lines later. Maybe, but that might be a 6th grade thing as well. You guys do straight lines. So we have just connecting the dots, going by the lines. So number 1, use the graph to answer the questions. On which day was the total rainfall recorded the greatest? So number 1, Saturday. Number 2, on which day did Jill record the greatest increase in rainfall collected from the previous day? So when did it start really jumping? Wednesday we were at here, and then we went up 3 by Thursday, and only 2 the next day. So on Thursday was the biggest jump. All right, so we still have time. Pause it if you need to. I'm moving on. Okay, so I'm still going to be using this graph paper. However, I'm going to be over on the side, and then we'll move over onto the side that we actually used for it. Okay, so first off, number 1 says, what scale and intervals would be appropriate to make a graph of the data? I'm at the top of page 403. Well, we would be talking about, first off, months. That's the bottom one, right? because that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be using the months. What month is it? Because it shows January, February, March, April, and May. Then the next one that we're going to use is, let's go by twos. Starting at 40. Will that work? 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 56. No, that will not work. Let's go by fives. Let's try that. Or do you actually have enough space where you can go by twos starting at 40? Let me count yours. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8. 40, 42, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70. 74. I think you're technically you do. If we make this as large as it can possibly be and you almost run out of space. I'm going to show it to you doing it by fives, okay? By fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, starting at, let's go with 30, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. Yeah, okay, so we can do that. Starting at 30. Okay, number 2, write the related pairs. So we have January was at 40 degrees. February was at 44 degrees. March was at 54 degrees. April was at 62 degrees. And May was at 70 degrees. I am literally just going off what is on the chart. Now, if you need this information, what's on the 1 and the 2, pause the video because I am erasing it. I need the space for my graph. All right, I'm erasing it. Now let's start this graph. So I am doing a zigzag cut line right there. Okay, so remember, you need to draw in your straight lines, just like I already have. I can cheat a little bit. I already have my straight lines. And then you do the zigzag cut. So we know that we are cutting right there. So we start at 0, and then I'm going to make this one 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. That's how I'm doing my graph, because that's how it would fit best on mine. Over here, I am once again, oh, and this is temperature. And then degrees F, so degrees Fahrenheit. All right. Now, once again, I am going to skip a line every time down here. So I have January, February, March, April, and May. And this is months. All right, so that's our labels. Oh, right. The title for this entire thing is literally the title of your table. So you write down average monthly temperature in Tupelo, Mississippi. That is literally our title for this particular graph. All right, so let's look and see what it says. In January, it was 40 degrees. So I go up in January, I go up to 40, and I make a mark. In February, it was 44 degrees. In February, I go up to just below 45, and I make a mark. In March, it was 54 degrees. I go over to March, and then I go up to just below 55, and make a mark. In April, it was 62 degrees. So I go over to April, and then I go in the middle between 60 and 65. I make a mark. In May, it is 70 degrees. So I go over to May, and then I go all the way up to 70 and make a mark. Now, I connect them like we're playing connect the dots. And it ends up looking kind of like that. Number 4, use this graph to determine between which 2 months the least change in temperature occurs. So where is there not very much change? You see where the line is almost flat? Between January and February. So our number 4 is between January and February. Okay. So down at the bottom on your own, it is once again just making a graph exactly like what we did here. I would say since it only goes up to 32, well, your months are definitely going to be each individual month. Your height, how we're going to split that one up. You could do it by 5s. You could do it by 2s. You could even sit here and say, you know what, I'm going to start at 20 and I'm going to do it by 1s all the way up to 32. And you could do it that way. So each line ends up being 1 if you want to. All right, you guys can do it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.